Hey lymphomies. This video is going to be a little more personal and a little less about cancer for once. The other day I was watching a documentary on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher. Amazing documentary, definitely check it out. It was about a guy whose life was falling apart. And in my interpretation, God gives him the gift of a special bond between him and an octopus. Definitely an unexpected and odd gift, right? But you could tell this was a special moment in time for him. And as soon as I saw the look in his eyes and the passion in his voice while he was telling the story, I knew I had something in common with him. Today, I wanted to tell you a story of how I got an unusual yet special blessing of my own last year. And I want to tell it here because I think there's a lot of takeaway, and you could apply it in your own life if you're dealing with dark and stressful times right now. Please do not let the title scare you. Even if you aren't religious, just watch to the end. It'll be worth it, I promise. If you're new here, hi, my name is Nick. I am a stage 4 double-hit lymphoma survivor. I had 6 rounds of round-the-clock chemotherapy, 10 rounds of radiation, and a stem cell transplant, and a total hip replacement. I'm full of scars, I'm emotionally wounded, but I'm still here. God is good. So back in November, as told in a previous video, I got fired from my job for doing this. Because I honestly do have trouble breathing with it on in the heat. And I fought management about it. My defiance was more than they wanted to tolerate, so ultimately I got fired. And the day they fired me, it was pouring rain. My car, much like myself, is 100 pounds and likes to hydroplane. Ugh. Already just a bad omen of risking my life to go into work to find out I was fired. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't my fault. It was, obviously. But it just added that much more misery to the situation. Anyway, I go in. I get the best assignment you can get. And I was stoked. And I'm doing literally double the amount of work required to do that job because that assignment is the best. And I have my stupid mask on because after the last confrontation, I decided it wasn't worth the risk. That I was just gonna ride it out. Ride it out, I say, whilst still on the ride. Like this video if you're sick of these things. So I'm working, and all of a sudden, I get a message to meet Miss Scary Manager Face in the lobby. I knew right away it wasn't good. The job I was doing couldn't be any farther away from the lobby, and the place was massive. I get there, I'm right. They're firing me for the whole mask argument situation 2 weeks ago. Very annoying. But I didn't argue, I just said okay and I left. So it's 6 a.m. and I'm sitting in my car with mixed feelings. We've all been there, am I right? Part of me is laughing because of the pure ridiculousness of the situation. The other part of me is numb with anxiety because I just lost a job that I actually liked. And my plan at the time was to move up in this company, and maybe that would be a long-term plan for me. So I drive the long way home in my roller skate in the rain, the whole hour back to my house. Not even with any music on, just defeated. I get home, and the stress hits me like a brick. I need a new job, like now. The holidays are coming. Next month's bills are coming. So I get online and I start looking. And I find something instantaneously. It was similar to what I was doing, but just another company. So I apply. And it was one of those places where you don't need to wait for them to call you. They just kind of set up the interview online. So I get fired and I got a new interview. All before 8:30 in the morning. Gotta love technology. Now, fast forward a few days. I go in the interview. The place I applied for is only half an hour from my house. Already a massive improvement. I get there, and let me just paint this picture for you. Me, dressed up for this interview, was like a chicken walking into a cheetah pen. I hilariously did not belong there. But I'm a tomboy at heart, and I'm in my comfort zone. I'm getting some strange looks, and some how you doing looks. So, all the prospective employees gather. The interviewer tells us the position we applied for is full, but they were looking to fill another position. Definitely disappointed, but whatever, I'm here. I'm listening. So we get called into the office to do individual interviews. This really beautiful woman, angelic really, who also looked like she didn't belong there, did my interview. We sit down, she's looking at my information. Oh, so you live in Beachy Town? I said, why yes, I do. She says, would you rather work at the Beachy Town location? It's like 2 minutes from your house. And I'm ecstatic, like, of course. I didn't know they were hiring. I only saw this location on the website. She said, yeah, my friend works there. I know they're hiring for this position there too. Without going into too much detail, this was one of those job positions that the average person would not be interested in. It was seasonal, so in January I'd be screwed again. And personally, in my eyes, it's one of those jobs that college kids get on winter break because they need something to do. And I felt I was a little old. I even thought to myself, am I actually going to be doing this? But the pay was great. I have experience in both realms of the job. It was already almost December. I needed to work, so it was going to happen. The last thing she said to me was that I needed to wear boots. Sold. I wear combat boots to the beach, honey. You don't have to tell me twice. Fast forward to the beginning of December, my first day. I'm sitting in the parking lot, nervous, feeling like an idiot, on the phone trying to get an appeal hearing for the job that I lost. Because honestly, I didn't even get a write-up. The whole thing just wasn't fair. So in my head, if I could get them to retract their termination, I could at the very least have a plan B if I ever needed an emergency job. Because I am never, ever, ever returning to the job I had when I was sick. Not gonna happen. 10 out of 10 would rather live in a box. So I'm on the phone giving the appeal case manager my sob story. I get emotional. I try to explain that it was hot, I work hard and can't breathe with a mask on, that I wasn't around anyone else at the time. And frankly, the woman arguing with me, treating me like a state prisoner, no need for any of that. And the guy on the phone was just like, wow. I can tell I've won this guy over. He says my chance at winning this appeal was really good. He was sympathetic towards me and my pathetic whimperings. Cool. So I hang up with him and plunge back into reality. 10 minutes until work. All I wanted to do was go home. And I seriously considered it. But it was also my dad's birthday and he was on my mind. He always tells me he admires my work ethic. The last thing he would want me to do is quit while I needed to work. So I stayed. And I can't even put into words how beyond happy I am that I did. So in this next part, I apologize for being vague, but hear me out. Just see if you can outsmart me and figure out what it is that I was doing. I see a truck pull up with the company's name on it at the meeting place. And I just think to myself, he's here, there's no going back now, I'm in it. So the person I was assigned to work with, let's name him Ken, is literally me in male form. We were so similar, it was scary. Same sense of humor, same interests, very friendly. And I'm gonna say, about an hour into the shift, I was feeling pretty upset. I could feel the tears welling inside of me. I don't like change at all. I'm ticked about being fired. I miss my friends over there. My family member who still worked there was livid. But then Ken tells me, I don't need you to come with me on this next assignment, but come with me if you like cats. Okay, cats? I'm in. He pulls a bag of cat treats from his pocket. We go to the location, and this pretty, long-haired black cat timidly runs up to him and gets his treats. Mood improves instantly. This guy is awesome, there's cats, life is good. A few hours into the shift, I meet another cat. Super sweet, super friendly. He's doing tricks to get Ken to give him his treats. If you watched my intro video for this channel, I have a black cat. Black cats are my favorite special place in my heart. Black cats are awesome. You cannot convince me otherwise. And I think it was that moment on my first day that I no longer wanted to go through with the appeal. Because clearly I found myself an upgrade. I'm literally being paid more money to occasionally pet cats. The weeks go by. And honestly, I can't even put into words, like the proper words, how much this time in my life meant to me. I know for a fact that mostly anyone else my age would feel so low about doing something like this. They'd see it as just another desperate way to make money in a desperate situation. They'd never remember it. and I heard it was common for people to quit. But I am a very, very sentimental person, and I make the best out of any situation. I mean, for goodness sake, one of the most happy times in my life was during cancer treatment, because I knew I would survive, and I knew I would come out of it being a better person. What made me really, really love the job was not only that it was fun, that it wasn't boring, it was outside and very active, was the bond between me and Ken, which only got stronger every day. Just laughing about stupid things that would happen throughout the day, learning about one another, and talking about mutual interests like cats and tuna and exploring. The real turning point that made us inseparable companions was one day. He asked if I was religious, and I briefly thought, oh man, this is it. I'm gonna tell this guy I'm a Christian, he's gonna think I'm a weirdo. I thought about lying and saying no just to keep it simple, but I told him I was a Christian, and he was pleasantly surprised, and he said he was one too. And after that, our conversations became much more meaningful, and the job just got more and more precious to me every day that passed. Every hour, honestly. I began to think of our work truck as the best church I've ever studied in. You know what they say about 2 or more believers together. If you watched my Cancer and Spirituality video, I said my moment where I decided to become a Christian again was after a bad day at work and my mom answering questions flawlessly. And yeah, that's true. I decided to become a Christian again in that moment. But I owe Ken everything, because if I never met him, I'd have never been the Christian that I am today, not even close. One day he got a tip, and he said he would share half with me on the condition that I'd buy myself a Bible. I did. He sends me scripture on a daily basis, and if I go too long without reading, he's on my case. And if it wasn't for being paired up with him, the job wouldn't have had as much of an impact on my life. Because I did work with someone else on a Saturday. He doesn't work Saturdays. And it was fun, don't get me wrong, but definitely not the same. And this video doesn't even do my feelings and memory any justice. It doesn't even scratch the surface, because without giving away too much, I really can't paint the picture in your head. But if you could, just think back to a time in your life where everything seemed to be falling apart, and then out of nowhere, something unexpected happens. Not what you wanted, but ended up being so good for you in ways that you can't really explain. That's what this job was for me. But that's God. He knows my mind way more than I ever will. He knows what I like, and he knows that I needed Ken in my life. He knew I needed this experience, and he knew I needed Ken in my life, most of all. Because I refused to believe this was a coincidence. So many things had to fall into place. I had to be fired from my job. I had to find this particular job. I had to go on the interview and have this nice, beautiful woman ask me if I wanted to work in the location closer to my house. She could have not cared. And then, out of hundreds of people, I get paired up with the right one, who just so happened to be praying to be paired up with another Christian he could talk to. Make it make sense. You could say, Nick, you liked the job you were fired from too. You would have been happy anywhere. Like you said, you're sentimental. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget a true miracle from God. 2 people that needed each other when they needed someone the most got brought together. And the job I was fired from, I'm gonna forget about that eventually. No shade, I just didn't belong there, clearly. If I was never fired, this would have never happened. It was one of the best months of my entire life. One that I hope God will allow me to remember, despite my cognitive disabilities and despite the chemo brain. I was actually crying on my last day in January because I was so happy. It was such a happy time, and I just did not want it to end. Desperately did not want it to end. Ken filled 2 holes in my heart. The first being that I actually had someone I could talk to and trust as much as I trusted and talked to my Uncle Steve, who passed away in March of 2020. Second was making me into the Christian that God believed that I could be. Phew, those are some big holes. Can you tell I'm very grateful? Oh, and also, Ken got me a permanent job, and the best thing about it is still being able to see him twice a day. So yeah, that's how I ended the worst year in modern history. Please share with me in the comments a moment in your life where you got an unexpected gift. I don't care if you're religious, non-religious, doesn't matter to me. Share it with me in the comments below. Just a special time in your life where you were really happy and other people may have thought you were weird. I got called out recently. I have a keychain that reminds me of that time in my life, and they were like, you in this job, like I'm the weirdo. But it's much more than a job to me. It was a symbol of, it reminds me of a happy time in my life. I don't know what to tell you. Also, can you guess what the new job was? And how about the job I got fired from? If anyone can guess based on the little information that I've given, I would be amazed. I will paint you a picture for free and I'll mail it to you. But yeah, I think it would be fun for people to guess. If you know me in real life, shh. Right, I love you so much, lymphomies. Remember, God is great, life is great. No matter what you do for a living, choose to be happy, and you will be amazed at the impact it will have on your life and your happiness and even your health. Na zdrovia. Now we'll see you in my next one. Bye!